Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. And today's topic is one which affects so many people in this community. In fact, the narcissistic abuse experience generally hits people really hard in midlife onwards. And what I mean by that is, it's usually later in life when things get so bad that we realise that we need to get out. And it's very true that the greater part of the people in this community are in their mid-30s onwards, with many people being in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, and even older. For people who awaken earlier than what most of us did, all power to you. But that's generally not the case. And my theory for this is because as adults encountering narcissists, the whole evolution lesson gets worse and worse and worse until it brings on a personal catharsis, which means that life can't go on any longer as normal, which really means that we're brought to our knees needing to heal our unhealed wounds, because it's game over if we don't. And until we get brought to that point in our life, the signposts intensify in severity until a whopping great billboard falls on her head. And the abusers and the abuse usually gets worse until this happens, until we get the message to turn inwards to heal ourselves. And this is the make or break experience by the time that we get to the significant abuse that is synonymous with narcissistic abuse. Or if we've had a lifetime of narcissistic abuse beginning as a child, it may not be until midlife that our life feels unbearable, which really means that the inner traumas have accumulated to a level that they simply can't be ignored anymore. We can't function, and we need to reach out for answers, and we try to find solutions. And of course, we may feel like we've got very little chance of rebuilding ourselves in our life because we're too old. There are too many years of accumulated damage, or we've lost too much to make up the ground, or we've missed the opportunities that we can never recoup, meaning the opportunities and the skill sets to be able to have a great career, etc. I remember feeling like this at 40 years of age after my breakdown and the colossal losses to the narcissist. Before this happened, I'd always been a hard worker and I had achieved my own security. Within the narcissistic marriage, I lost significant property. I also lost credibility, career ability, associate support, and the support of friends and family. And I had incredible debt accumulated trying to survive the abuse. And as I shared in my last two videos, I then lost my mental and physical health. Absolutely, I believed it was too late for me. Yet age is relative. Some of you who are older may think, okay, you're only 40, I'm in my 60s. Or maybe if you're 30, you think, wow, trying to rebuild your whole life from 40 must have been really hard. The truth is that when we have not as yet gone quantum, we're still operating from the belief systems of the wounds that we personally carry. And I promise you, I could have been 20 and still thought as a victim who used to think that her life had been slaughtered at the hands of a narcissist, that I could never rebuild. Now I know that when we tap into the unlimited, infinite quantum source of our higher self, which is unconditional and it doesn't subscribe to any statistics or limitations whatsoever, and we clear all trauma that was keeping us disconnected from our true self and true power, we start creating life from the healthy composition of our inner being, which is also timeless and unlimited. I want to share with you this really special story, which is one of my most favourite Thriver breakthroughs. And those of you who have been in my free 3 Keys webinar, you will have heard this story. It's about Dot. And Dot, when I first met her, she was in her 70s and this was her history. All her adult love relationships had been with narcissists. She was married to her 3rd narcissistic husband and her trauma was that great that she was nearly suicidal. A daughter of one of her girlfriends had done my narcissistic abuse recovery program, and that girlfriend urged Dot to get in contact with me. And even though Dot had never done any spiritual or personal development work in her entire life, she started working on the NARP program. Dot committed to the NARP program and she targeted and released her traumas that her husband was triggering within her, and within 2 months she left him and she moved out. One of the greatest traumas in Dot's life, which still remained, was that her second narcissistic husband had alienated her from her children, and she'd not seen them or even met her grandchildren for decades. And then she got to work on the trauma of that in her inner being. And her son contacted her not long afterwards, out of the blue, after 32 years of silence. Dot's life today bears no resemblance to what used to be her life. Previously, Dot had been carrying all of her life the childhood traumas and the beliefs of, if I don't fix damaged people, they will not be able to love me. And consequently, her whole life she'd been trying to subconsciously fix her parents, both alcoholics, by picking broken people and trying to love them back to health, which of course wasn't working. Even though she had an aversion to drinkers because of her parents, she was still unconsciously attracted and attractive to disordered people, which of course were narcissists in her life, because they matched the trauma of her childhood wounding. And with NARP, she was able to find her original traumas and release them. And then the pattern of the abuse and connecting to and handing her power over to abusers was gone. This is Dot's life today, and it's so inspirational. She's in a relationship with a beautiful man and they enjoy travel together. Her anxiety and depression is completely gone. Her health and well-being is the best she has ever felt. Dot lives in a retirement village and she spends time with all of her family. She's learning piano and she's writing a book, which are dreams of hers that she's had for years. Dot's life is a perfect example of the flow of well-being and true flourishing and nourishing we experience that we're all connected to unconditionally. Once we partner our inner being and we shift our trauma out, we start to organically become who we really are. So I want you to know it is not too late. There are so many people in this community who, like myself, self-partnered and healed and then started experiencing life at levels that surpassed our wildest dreams, no matter what age we were. And I'd love to share with you some gorgeous contribution from NARPers, which are people who work with the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, who've given me permission to share with you their incredible life shifts and their changes from midlife onwards to help inspire you. Claire had suffered childhood abuse from narcissists as well as 2 divorces, which included alienation from her daughter by a narcissistic husband and then a sociopathic sex addict. Due to the terrible trauma in her life, she found herself on welfare despite having previously worked in management corporate roles. Claire used this time to deeply heal herself by releasing trauma, and then she discovered her love of music was calling her. And this is what Claire wrote about in the NARP forum. I joined a local orchestra and made a few new friends, one of which asked to help her out teaching her pupils piano, and she was unwell. Life took off from there. I discovered I enjoyed working with children and could use my coaching background to offer them a different learning approach to playing piano and cello. Before I realised what had happened, I had a business and was self-employed. So this is it. Claire is now composing, and she's composing and having music writing opportunities as well, which are all huge passions of hers. And Claire is 55 years of age. So all of that is just so inspirational. So Grace is another Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program member, and she talks about her experience at 64, and this is what her experience is. I started NARP in October 2016 at age 64. There was something that so resonated with me about how the experience of an N is a wake-up call that I was inspired to start doing things differently. Knowing I can always turn to a module is so reassuring. Finally understanding such concepts as self-care, feeling good about myself has been beyond helpful and has helped me take better care in myself. I've developed better habits. in eating right, exercise, practicing music, taking the next steps in my music career, etc., I am simply no longer attracted to the N dramas. I just do not consider age a deterrent. I even crumbled my own belief that no one would hire me to start a job with a major company at age 65. I am starting a new part-time job the end of this month at age 65, which is just wonderful, you know, and it just goes to show what is absolutely possible. And this is what Anki shares, and she is a month younger than me. She's 51 in September, and her story is incredibly inspirational. And this is what she says. Having been told and convinced that I had 3 to 4 chronic diseases and was beyond repair with no ability to function and work, they told me I would never be able to again and should prepare to retire. Oh my goodness, I was told I would never be able to work again either. With everything I once owned, house, furniture, money, health, friends, etc., taken away from me and stuck in a debt restructuring program for 5 years from today, far below subsistence, I am the happiest and strongest I've ever been, even before the narcissists, 3 of them for 13 years. Being a narper for almost 3 months now, I am a totally different person already. I'm working again, I'm exercising, I am soon free from 15 years of antidepressant medicine. I'm living. I love this. I feel beautiful, strong and giggly almost every single day now, and when I don't, I'm thankful and I ask myself what it is about and I shift it out of my body. And the biggest gift, and I'm crying as I write this as happy tears, is that I love myself finally. And that has had a huge impact on my children and our family. You know, so for Anki, everything is up from there because this is exactly how it works. It really, really is. And finally, this is Deb's words, and they're straight from her heart. Deb is a beautiful moderator in the NARP forum, and this is about her recovery journey. So this is what Deb said. I've been in your community for a while and I'm thriving beyond my wildest imagination. It all started to click. When you become it, you are it. It began when I let go of any outcomes, truly disengaged from narcissistic shenanigans and stood up for my little me, which is her inner being, and grew up my unhealed adult parts and meshed together to become my best and highest version of me. I am 63 years old. I've just begun a whole new career of lifeguarding, teaching people of all ages to learn how to swim and teaching water aerobics aquatic classes. Go figure that. I had a myriad of health conditions, from a spinal fusion, knee surgery gone awry, neck and spine ablations, I think is that word. It's got to be bad, whatever it was, to deficiencies A to Z, from chronic stress hormones, fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis, blah, blah, blah. Yes, they were serious at the time, but now from clearing the horrendous trauma from my being, it's all gone. There simply aren't words for my gratitude. I only hope I can be a shining light to others from your light, and heart to heart from you to me. Give to self first, then the natural path will lead you to giving to others. It's the law quantum style. That's just so beautiful and so inspirational, and I hope people out there in their 50s and 60s and their 40s, or even if you're in your 30s or even your 70s, that you really can feel inspired by all of those stories and all of those true accounts of what happens when we do the inner work. So, which is just, you know, it's just so beautiful. And it's lovely to have people like Deb and Anki and, you know, other people that are just so beautifully active in the NARP forum and helping inspire other people that they can absolutely get there as well, because we seriously can. So the message really for you, if you think you've run out of time and it's too late to start your real life, like so many of us thrivers who felt like we could never come back because we're too old. As long as you are still breathing, no matter what you have lost, no matter what has happened to you up to this point, and no matter how old you are, like all of us, you can turn it around, and we're here to hold your hand and help you absolutely. So that is it for this episode. Please come over and join the conversation on the blog, which is at blog.melanietoniaevans.com. And until the next episode, you know how it goes. Keep healing, keep smiling, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.